Those two LA teams are going to be the two teams. I'm with you. All right, I listened to your argument. All right, I'll drop the Warriors a little bit.
Stick with your guns, man.
I mean, I got to kind of, I got to, have other viewpoints on things to help me understand. But it's going to be crazy in the Western Conference this year. Like I started off saying, the competition is crazy.
The Western Conference is the reason why you should get an NBA Elite Pass.
Oh, dude,
that alone,
100%.
Now, I mentioned it when I was talking about it. I'm not sure if you considered it, but like I said with Portland, I just wonder about the size. Small guards, small forwards. We're expecting a lot from this kid, Zach Collins. And I mean, he had flashes where he did really well, but he's going from being a bench player, and if he did great, awesome. If he didn't do great, not a big deal, to being like under the spotlight. I just wonder if he can handle that. And their bench. So Portland's a team, I have them ranked 4. If they slipped and fall a couple spots, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm one of the biggest Damian Lillard fans on the planet, but one man alone cannot do it.
No, you're right. I mean, they're going to need Rodney Hood to step up and do what he did last year in the playoffs. Can he do that? The Kent Bazemore signing is kind of sneaky because we know what he did when he was in Atlanta.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything last year, so you wonder if change of scenery might help him out.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's really not a lot there. I mean, their roster, you're right, it's very, very, very thin. There's really... There's not that player coming off the bench. There's no Seth Curry coming in that can,
Dallas, yeah.
Right. So, and that's kind of why I had him a little bit lower. They finished third. Like I said, what did I have him at? I had him at 6, I think.
Yeah, I had him at 4. And that's all solely based off the CJ and Dame backcourt and their ability to score.
Right. They're definitely a team that, a lot of people didn't really give them much credit last year either. If you think about it, people are like, okay, these two guys. Right. Especially after Nurkic went down. That was a big loss for them. So we'll see. I think it really depends on the health of Nurkic and Whiteside. I think if those two guys are healthy and they don't have to just go, the duo, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, if they don't have to have everything on their back and they can have a guy like Whiteside, like you said, Collins or Nurkic or somebody inside that they can just feed the ball to and they can take a step and take a breath, so they're not just running up and down the court. But yeah, Portland's always one of those teams every year. You're not really sure they're this good or they're that good. They're always kind of in that middle with those two
I feel
guys.
like when they have low expectations, they do fantastic. And when we have high expectations, they disappoint the heck out of you. So we'll have to see. And then talking about the Rockets, like I mentioned, I have the Rockets number 5. I think that the James Harden and Russell Westbrook duo will figure the things out, and they'll be spectacular. But like I said, when those guys rest, when they sit down, who's scoring? And that's the job that Mike D'Antoni's going to have. I mean, do you sit down Westbrook and let James run the show, and then sit down James and let Russ run the show? Because think about it. If they ever sit down together on the bench, who's scoring for that team? Because you're starting Eric Gordon, you're starting PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
So the bench depth for Houston scares me. And their size. It's Clint Capella and who else?
Right. No, well, they got Tyson Chandler, but Tyson Chandler's not
22 anymore.
Right. He's not that young guy that was back on the Chicago Bulls, which is funny because I saw a highlight of him and he looked completely different.
Yeah,
he looked completely different. But yeah, I mean, you still got Austin Rivers, who people, obviously he's not the greatest player in the NBA, but he's a good role player coming off the bench.
He's not in the NBA just because of his last name.
Absolutely
he can
not.
play ball.
We still don't know about Thabo Sefolosha. We know the defensive player that he was, but what can he be now? We don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Ben McLemore, can he change his career coming there? Who knows? I mean, I hope so. I had a lot of...
he was highly touted out of Kansas.
Right.
Highly touted.
And then, of course, Ryan Anderson. Ryan Anderson, I think, on his second stint at the Rockets now. So,
second tour duty. You're
right.
About that.
A guy that can shoot, he plays a role. He still gets rebounds, stuff like that, because he's a pretty big guy. But, he can shoot when he gets hot. So, there is a couple of guys, but Gerald Green, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. Gerald Green is a huge loss for that team.
Absolutely.
Because there's nobody else that can do what he can do. There's nobody else that can energize the crowd. There's nobody else that plays the defense the way he did, that can get streaky hot and make some shots. I mean, yes, can Austin Rivers make some spectacular shots? Some absolutely amazing layups sometimes where he just, I don't even know how he even got the ball up in the air, let alone in the basket. He's a fun guy to watch. But Houston, to me, I think it comes down to how do you manage those minutes? is Russell Westbrook and Harden going to be on the court? I think you should have points where one is off and one is on.
Yeah, that would be my strategy. I would never have both at the same time.
Well, you're going to have both at the same time. Well, who's your point guard?
Well, your backup point guard is Austin Rivers.
Right, but no, I'm saying who's your starting point guard?
It's got to be
Russell Westbrook. Yeah. Who's your starting shooting guard? James Harden. I mean, they're going to be they're going to be on the court to start the game every single game. And I think watching a little bit of that I've seen, Russell Westbrook's a little, rusty, but Harden put up 40 points already once in this preseason. It's preseason.
He can roll out of bed and give you 35.
Right, and now he's talking about coming out with new moves, like new step back.
the one leg step back 3-pointer. I'll be trying that in the backyard.
I'm like, what in the heck is this guy doing? But he makes it look easy, and he brings people to the stadium. And he brings interest to the NBA because of who he is and his style and the whole beard thing. I mean,
he's a unique
James
cat.
Harden is
he's
just
a unique cat.
Right, totally cool dude. The clothes that he wears coming. I mean, he's just one of those guys everybody wants to know. And the same way with Russell Westbrook. So when you got two of them on the same team,
I'm more excited about the outfits they're going to wear in the basketball game. Those guys are they going to coordinate clothes at all? Now, looking at some of the teams that we didn't have in our top 8. That have a possibility to make some noise. I want to start with the one you talked about. That's the New Orleans Pelicans. I feel like if Alvin Gentry can get these guys to come together, I'm with you. You said they have a chance to make some noise and be a headache. They do. I mean, just forget about Zion Williamson. I know it's hard to do. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, J.J. Redick. I believe Derek Favors on that team as well. I mean, a lot of good depth on that team. Josh Hart, on that team. If they can get those role players to come together, become a team, and win some of those games that they're expected to win, I wouldn't be totally shocked if New Orleans snuck into the 8 or maybe even a 7 seed. I would not be surprised at all. What are some of your thoughts on New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's a lot of hype behind that entire team. I mean, Anthony Davis is gone. Okay, what's next?
Yeah.
I like Lonzo Ball. Ingram's looked pretty good. He looks like he's healthy after the blood clots.
That's why I see that guy get the shot.
That's scary. Anytime you hear about that kind of stuff, it's scary. So they got a lot of young talent, and we all know what young talent is. It's streaky. It's are you ready? It's how much can you handle? It's how much can your body handle? It's can you handle adversity? Can you handle going on a 5-game losing streak, or do you lose, go crazy and
go on social media and tweet out a bunch of crap.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's really what it comes down to. And the hype of having Zion on your team, just like the hype of having LeBron on your team. When LeBron, I mean, it takes a toll on the entire team.
I think a lot of those
if everybody's asking questions about LeBron, well, what about me? I scored 20 points last night. What about me? I had 10 assists last night. What about me? And I think if all the focus stays on Zion, I think it could affect some of their younger players. And I think it affected, like you said, a lot of the players on the Lakers last year as well. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do it this year, but they definitely have the talent. I mean, Drew Holiday looks amazing, just like always. I mean, that team could be something. And if Lonzo Ball steps up and does half of what he was supposed to do coming out of college, I mean, that team can definitely make some waves. Another team for me, and I know no one's talking about them, but every year, we don't know what's going to happen with. That's the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, you're looking at Karl Anthony Towns,
beast,
Jeff Teague,
decent. Yeah.
We all talk about the one player that is the difference, and that's Andrew Wiggins. Right? I mean, I know, and I'm 100% with you. It's like, what can this guy do? Can this guy turn it around? Can this guy become?
He's so indifferent. God, right. It's so frustrating to watch.
It just
30 points followed by 5 points followed by 7 points. And
right.
The I don't care added. The body language screams, "Oh well,
yep,
whatever."
So, but I mean, Robert Covington. That's a good signing for them. I do like that, but there's really nobody else. I mean, Shabazz Napier is there now. Jordan Bell coming from the Golden State Warriors is there now. So, I mean, I think they got a couple of players, but every year, man, Minnesota. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns is one of the top centers in the NBA.
Yeah, I think he's top 15 player.
Right?
Is he top 20?
And the reason I bring him up is he's a young guy. Is he going to stay his career like a Kevin Garnett did.
I always tell you, people wasting their prime years for bum teams like Garnett did. Kevin Love got out of there just in time.
Right.
I hate to see Karl-Anthony Towns, 33, 34 years old, still battling to be an 8th spot, and that's just not. He's too talented to do that.
Well, and it's funny because we say that kind of stuff, but then of course with the Wizards, I want Bradley Beal here for his entire career, but I still think that every year, especially in the Eastern Conference, I think we have a chance because the Eastern Conference is not nearly as strong as the Western Conference. So I think when you're in the Western Conference and you're one of those teams that's struggling, I mean, shoot, look at Devin Booker in Phoenix. How long is he going to stay around? Is he going to stay there?
Quite a while. It's not an extension.
But I know. But I'm just saying, still,
that's what you're saying.
Is he going to be there? Granted, teams. The reason I'm saying this is because for the longest time it was players stayed with teams for 15, 12, 15 years, whatever. Now, I'm here 2 years, I don't like it, trade me, send me away. At the same
point, too, though, if I'm Devin Booker, how many times can you sit in the summertime and watch your peers and friends in the playoffs, making highlights, being talked about, and you're in shorts and flip-flops and Sandro Perez, just on vacation? He's got to be getting tired of that. And I think he needs to see, like I was saying with the Wizards and Bradley Beal, you have to see some concrete moves to get your team to be improved.
Well, think about Brooklyn. Think about Brooklyn with D'Angelo Russell.
There you go.
D'Angelo Russell was struggling year after year after year. Like, that team was going nowhere. And then last year, of course, they made their strides. They got some great plays from everybody. So, that's a guy that struggled for a little while. Even Cleveland, before, you look at Cleveland, what they did before LeBron. It was like
Kyrie Irving versus the world.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
I remember.
So, I don't know. It's just, it's going to be crazy watching these games this year. But I am excited for all these different duos, as they're calling them now.
Love the air quotes.
Right.
I think another team in the Western Conference I'm interested in seeing, I rode their train all the way until they were not out of playoff contention. Sacramento Kings. If Marvin Bagley III can stay healthy, what does he bring to you? We know that every game, De'Aaron Fox is going to go 100 miles an hour and give you all he got. Buddy Hield, I know you got some comments you want to talk about Buddy Hield. I knew the show wasn't going to end without you sharing your comments on Buddy Buckets. So Marvin Bagley III, Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox, what can they get from those guys? What kind of improvement can we see from Harry Giles? The Sacramento Kings are a team that, if guys can stay healthy, continue to develop, and step up in their roles, that's another team I can see knock on that door in the 8th spot. Because for me, in the Western Conference playoffs, I think the 8th spot is between a bunch of teams. And that's Golden State can be there. I can see the Mavs at number 8. I can see Sacramento. I can see the Pelicans at number 8. So the 8th spot's kind of up for grabs between those teams. I think the 7 teams we both have, the seedings might not be correct. That's why it's a preseason preview show. But I'm pretty confident saying the 7 teams we have in the top 7 are legit going to be there when playoff time comes. But I'll give the floor to you to share your Buddy Buckets feelings.
Well, before I even share that, I do like the fact that you said that, because when I was kind of looking at it, and I got to 8 and it was the Spurs, and I was like, the Spurs could obviously go a little bit higher because of the players that they have and just the coach that they have with Popovich. I'm like, yeah, they could get up into 6, 7, whatever. But I really got to thinking about it. I'm like, man, this last spot in the West could go to anybody. Even Memphis with what they put together this year.
You think so?
I think that young talent. I think that the Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson. I think that
that's a big leap.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm saying that there's the potential if Ja Morant did what he did. When he was in college.
I'll say this much: the Memphis Grizzlies are definitely farther along than that trash organization they got in Phoenix. I'll say, I'm not going to leave the Suns alone, man. Devin Booker is too good to be sitting at home chilling, watching guys in the playoffs do work year after year after year.
No, I'm with you. And and when you're talking about kind of small market stuff, obviously we were talking about the Sacramento Kings. I'm sure everybody's probably already seen it, but it kind of was something that I saw, and it kind of, it kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. And it really came down to Buddy Hield, a guy that, Buddy Buckets, I love him, you love him. I've been talking about him since he came out of Oklahoma. He's a guy that I love to watch. He's exciting. He could shoot the ball.
Yeah.
And when he came there to the Kings or whatever, they were all like, they thought he was the next Kobe Bryant. Like, he was just all over. He could shoot anywhere. But obviously, NBA, football, NFL, it all comes down to contract talks. Hey, might be able to get stuff negotiated, might